Well, good morning. Thank you guys for being here today, and I want to thank Mike and Mark Riches for having me come and do a presentation for you guys. My job is pretty easy today. We're going to do an identity theft workshop for you guys. We're going to take you through some facts about identity theft. We're going to talk about some tips that you guys can take with you so that you can help protect yourself from identity theft. And then we're going to talk about a benefit that your company is offering to all of the employees. So let's get started with our PowerPoint today. I'm not going to read this to you. You guys have been reading for a while now, right? But I am going to point out a few things to you and explain a few things. This first one, privacyrights.org is a wonderful website to go to. They have been tracking data breaches since 2005. Privacy Rights is a clearinghouse, and the reason I mentioned 2005 is that's when the laws were passed, some federal and state laws requiring any company that has a data breach, they're required to publicly acknowledge any data breaches. Because people ask us all the time, well, where are they getting my information? And it's through these data breaches. The Texas Comptroller's Office just announced a data breach that's affecting 1 in 5 Texans. 3.5 million Texans have had their identities. It was nothing too serious, just your socials and driver's license and birth dates. Okay, and it's affecting, like I said, 1 in 5 Texans. And you see the number here is over 512 million Americans. Well, people say, wait a second, there's only about 300 million Americans. Why is this number so high? Our information is in more than one place. All right, so this is just a huge, huge problem. The next thing here you can see, it says 27,000 new victims every day, 10 million last year alone. You see this one here on the bottom. It says that most people think about identity theft as being a credit issue. It actually only accounts for about 28% of all the identity that's happening out there. The issues that are coming up are only 28% of those are actually credit issues. It takes about 60 seconds to find out that you're a victim. It takes about 600 hours on average to restore your identity when you're dealing with the IRS and Social Security Administration, when you have legal issues because of warrants out for your arrest. So this is a huge problem that we're facing today. Let's talk about the different types of identity theft. I mentioned that financial was one, but there are actually 5 areas of identity theft. So let's talk about this first one. I'm going to show you guys a clip on criminal and character identity theft. You can see that this lady went through a great deal. Even after all the legal issues that she faced, the $50,000 in legal fees, she still doesn't feel like she cleared her name. All right? How can you get that back? They stole something for her that's irreplaceable. And here's the thing, is that they're not only, these thieves are not only writing fraudulent checks in your name, they're getting DUIs, speeding tickets, and they don't pay those fines. They don't show up in traffic court. And of those almost 10 million last year, 55% of those people have warrants out for their arrest, and they're completely unaware of it. So this is a huge issue that people are facing today. The next one is employment or Social Security identity theft. You can see that this, the Social Security identity theft has a great many repercussions. You guys probably caught the Trader's Village reference there. Those are flea markets that we have here in Texas, and you can go into any flea market, and for less than $100, you can buy a Social Security number or a driver's license. And in this particular situation, her employee benefits for Social Security have been completely wiped out, and she's got a huge problem on her hands with really nowhere to turn to. And in this particular case, it was some illegal aliens, but we know that there are a couple of other reasons why someone might want to use their Social Security number. And one of those is that they have garnishments being taken out of their checks. They'll use someone else's social, as well as the fact if they wouldn't pass a background check. They will use someone else's. So this is a huge problem facing people today. The next one is on the medical identity theft. And this is exactly what we saw happen, is on identity theft, when with the medical identity theft, is when all of these records went digital, this type of form of identity theft skyrocketed. All right? We have thousands of people without medical care in this country, and they're going to find a way to get medical care. You can see that this can be life-threatening. We actually know a family that lives in the Dallas area, and they had gone to a church picnic and afterwards went to visit friends, and the little boys were playing in the backyard, and their son fell and broke his arm in 2 places. And they rushed him to the nearest emergency room, and the dad's checking him in, and the nurse says, now you guys still live on Brook Hollow Drive, right? And the dad said, no, we've never lived on Brook Hollow Drive. And the nurse said, well, yeah, the last 2 times you were here, you lived on Brook Hollow Drive. And then Dad said, we've never been in this hospital. We don't even live near here. And she turned the screen around and she said, sir, can you verify your son's Social Security number? And it was their son. Someone had stolen their son's information and taken their child in to get medical care. And luckily, you think, okay, this is a broken arm. That's not really good, but it's not life-threatening. Because the thing is, had they had to rush that child in for an emergency, life-threatening situation, they could have very easily given that child the wrong blood type, because the little boy that had been brought in had a different blood type than their son's. So this is not only a huge medical bills that you get stuck with, this is life-threatening with their medical records superseding yours and their blood types and their allergies, things that they're allergic to, the medications they're taking. This is a huge problem. And there's no fix for this. There are no state or federally mandated laws requiring any medical facility to have and implement a photography system. There is this clip actually originated at a Fox channel in San Antonio, and there is a hospital in San Antonio now that has a photography system, and they are on average catching 12 people a week trying to get medical care fraudulently at their hospital. And it's a huge, huge issue today. On the financial, your banks are doing a pretty good job of watching your finances on your current cards. If there's something that's out of the ordinary, they're going to freeze your account and they're going to give you a call. These thieves, if they go out and they buy your social, they can open new cards. They can buy houses and cars in your name. The banks cannot monitor cards you don't know about. And this is where these smart thieves are actually getting your information and using it financially. It's a pretty stupid criminal that uses your current cards and uses your current accounts. All right, they're going to open new cards and new accounts in your name. And the last one, the driver's license, you can do all of these things if they get a hold of your driver's license. So let's talk about the fact that, you have children whose Social Security numbers are being used today. I mean, this seems kind of funny. That's a cute little clip there, but this is very serious. It is a huge opportunity for a thief to get a hold of a child's Social Security number. They can use it for years before they're ever caught, before anyone even notices. So let's talk about some tips that you guys can do to help protect yourself from identity theft. And again, I'm not going to read all these to you, so please read them. But I do want to encourage you on this first one is to get a copy of your credit report. How many of you have had a credit report or looked at your credit in the past 60 days? Will you raise your hand? All right, only one or two of you. And that's pretty much what we see when we go into companies. Only a handful of people are actually looking at their credit or monitoring it. The reason I asked about 60 days is because of the new laws that have been passed say that you have 60 days to prove or dispute any charge that shows up on your credit file. After 60 days, you can be held legally responsible for those things, even if you can prove that it wasn't you. So it's very important for you to monitor your credit. And you see here, don't carry extra cards around with you. That's very important. And do copy the front and back so that if you lose your wallet, you lose your purse. It's a really scary feeling, right? Have you ever had that happen? I had it happen to me. I was in a huge panic. Have a place where you in a lockbox that's got the back and the front of your cards that you're carrying, and then you have those 800 numbers to call, and that way you can notify them. This last page here, I want to point out a few things. Is number 11 here. Is don't ever give out your information over the phone unless you initiate the call. There will be times that you're going to need to give your information over the phone, right? But not unless you call them. All right, now there's a scam that's going on. Started out with a college spoofing scam. It's an application you can have on your phone that will change the caller ID that shows up on your phone to be anything that they want it to be. And what these people are doing is they're making the county courthouse show up on your caller ID. That's the number. It says county courthouse. And they call these people and say, there's now been a warrant issued for your arrest because you didn't show up for jury duty. And, in some jurisdictions, in some cases, they can't issue a warrant if you don't show up for jury duty. And people will say, wait, that wasn't me. I never got that summons. And so they'll say, well, perhaps there's been a mistake. Can you verify your Social Security number for me? And people in a panic will give that out over the phone. Get off the phone, hang up the phone, look up the number. Whether you have to, use it the old-fashioned way and use your yellow pages, look it up online, use directory census. Don't call the number back that's on your phone. Verify who it is that you're speaking to before you give that out over the phone. And on this last one, there are emails that came out that look legitimate. I just got one that showed up from AOL. It said they needed to update my banking information. And I immediately got on with the online chat and said, what is going on here? They said, that is not us. We will never ask you for your information. That is a scam for people trying to get your information. So please don't respond to those emails that they might look legitimate, but they want your information. So let's talk now about the plan that we have being offered to you through your company. This is a company called Kroll. I'm going to tell you about your identity theft benefit. This is a company, it's the world's risk management corporation. That was started by Jules Kroll, former CIA agent. They have over 1,000 licensed investigators that are fraud restoration experts. They're going to work for you on your behalf. They do all the background checks for the Secret Service and the FBI. This is a company that has ties with our government. People say, well, I would really maybe not have really heard of them before, because most of their clients are world governments. And they do, like I said, background checks for companies, large corporations. Here's what they're going to do for you. They're going to do a few things. This first one, they're going to give you that credit report that I asked you about earlier. It's for you and your spouse. You get 2 separate reports with your scores. We know that when we come into a company, because people aren't checking their credit, that statistically that someone's going to be a victim already, but they just don't even know it. We want you to get those scores. Look at your reports. Take a look at them. Go over everything that's in there and make sure that everything on there belongs to you. Some of the information may not be yours, so go through that and verify your information. The second is the 24-hour credit monitoring. There's a lot of monitoring systems out there, but this is a continuous monitoring. Their computers update every 7 seconds, and you set your account up to get these email alerts and the fraud alerts, and they will send you an email if there's any change on your credit file. That means that someone does an inquiry, someone just does it and looks at it, they're going to send you an email. Someone opens an account in your name. We have some friends, and Robert said he was driving down the road and his phone goes off. He can check email on his phone, and he said an email was from Kroll. And he said that someone had taken out a Macy's card in his name. And he's getting ready to call the 800 number to speak to an agent. Say, this wasn't me. And he said, wait a second, I better find out what Jennifer's doing today. So he calls up his wife and said, hey, honey, what are you doing? And she said, well, I'm at the mall shopping. And she said, did you take out a Macy's card? And she was like, oh, my gosh, how did you know? She said, I haven't even used it yet. All right, now we're not trying to break up anybody's marriage or anything, okay? But here's the thing. That's how fast it is. That's how quick it is. The peace of mind knowing someone's got your back. Every 30 days, there's no activity on your account, they'll send you an email letting you know there's been no change. And I just got mine last week. And I love that, knowing they've got my back. They're monitoring and they're letting me know. They'll even send you an email for a change of address. Because of the ties with our government, they can update every night with the United States Postal Service. All right? And they're going to send you an email for a change of address. It's one of the first indications you've been a victim of identity theft is a change of address. The second thing is now you've got this problem, you've got this restoration service. What do? You've got the smoke alarm that goes off. It's an alert search system, and those are great. We all sleep better at night knowing we've got this smoke alarm. But at the end of the day, you've got to clean it all up, right? You've got to put out this fire. And this service is so different than anything else that's out there today. This company, what they're going to assign you, an agent, a personal agent, and you're going to sign a limited power of attorney, and they're going to go to work for you on your behalf. They're going to go in and clean this up for you and restore it. This is like the cleanup crew that puts out the fire, and they come in and put everything on, and they restore your identity back to its original state. And that's what you want. All those 600 hours that you spend going to clean this up, you get to come to work every day, do your jobs, and know that this company is going to go in there and clean this up. All the affidavits, legwork, paperwork, phone calls, everything on your behalf to clean this up for you. They also offer an identity theft for minors as a safeguard for minors. They will monitor your minor children's Social Security numbers as well. The other thing that we pair this with is the Life Events Legal Plan, because we know that identity theft is also a legal issue. This is through a company called Prepaid Legal. They've been in business since 1972 and are currently traded on the New York Stock Exchange. The first thing they're going to do for you is some preventative law. Every state has a provider law firm. The one in Texas that we use is Ross and Matthews. They're the 13th largest law firm in the state of Texas with 107 attorneys on staff. They're an AV-rated law firm. It's the highest rating any law firm can have. And they cover all 23 areas of law. So when you call up and you get this first one, it's unlimited telephone consultation. You're going to call up and you're going to get to speak to an attorney who specializes in that area of law. And that specialist means that they're not a paralegal or a legal secretary, or that they just got out of law school last week. All right, you're going to speak to a specialist who's worked in that area of law for at least 5 years. So that means if you have a tax question, you're not going to talk to an attorney who files divorces all day. You're going to speak to an attorney that specializes in that area, and it's unlimited over any area of law. Whether whether it's taxes or real estate, or whether you want to talk about your homeowners associations or a warranty issue, you get to speak to a specialist, and it's unlimited. The second one is letters and telephone calls, and I love this. This worked for me, and I've used this. Last year alone, nationwide, just on letters and telephone calls, Our members saved $21 million last year alone just on letters and phone calls. They'll write a letter for you, make a telephone call for you on your behalf to give you legal muscle. I was getting a bill on my cable, from my cable company. They were charging me for an Arabic channel. Now, I don't have a problem with Arabic channels, but we just don't speak that in our house, and we don't understand that show. And we were watching this, and I was like, what is going on? And it was on my bill, and I called them up, and I said, we didn't order this. This is not us. And they said, oh, yes, someone from your home did. And I said, no, we don't even understand Arabic. This is not us. And so I said, please take this off. I said, I'm going to pay my bill, and I'm going to subtract that amount from it, and I'm not going to pay for that channel. I said, okay, we'll get taken care of. Well, the next month, the last month's bill, plus this next month was on there. And I kept calling. And finally, I paid my bill minus that amount. Well, finally, it got up to almost $80. And they said, if you don't pay this, we're going to turn off your cable. Now, in normal situations, I would have just sucked it up and paid it, because an average attorney per hour in Houston, for just an average attorney, is $300 an hour. I would have weighed the cost of $300 an hour versus the $80, and I would have just paid it. But I have this service, so I called up my law firm and I explained the situation. They wrote a letter for me on my behalf, and that bill went away. They sent me a letter of apology and said they would fix everything. And now it dropped off, and I didn't have to turn off my cable, and I had to pay that bill. So this is a wonderful service. If you ever feel like you've been done wrong and that you have a legal issue, they'll write a letter for you and get that taken care of for you. The next one is legal contract and document reviews. We've all signed contracts and documents. Let me ask you something, sir. Why would you want to have a contract or document reviewed on your behalf?
Make sure that what I'm signing is what I'm getting.
Yeah, absolutely right. Sometimes if we even bothered to read them, we don't even understand it because of all the legalese and the things that are written there. And we want to make sure that's in our best interest. Fax it up to them. They'll take a look at it and make sure that you understand what you're signing and make sure it's in your best interest. The next one is estate planning. All right, and this is probably one of the reasons why a lot of people take out this will. It's why my husband and I took out this will. We needed a will for our family. This is the state of Texas. It's a probate state, and this is one of the worst states to die in without a will, because if you don't have one, the state of Texas has one for you. They will come in and take control of your assets, and they'll decide who raises your minor children. We were working with a company that we went in and did an enrollment just like I'm doing for you guys today, and afterwards this lady came up to me and she said, I'm having a huge problem. I hope this can help me. And I said, well, tell me what's going on. And she said, well, my mother just passed away about 30 days ago. And I said, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I said, did she not have a will? She said, oh, no, she had a will. It's notarized, signed, everything. And we thought everything was taken care of, but it wasn't filed properly. Now I can't get this through probate. So if you take care of your family, for your children who are your adult children who are going to be probating your estate, okay, get this will done for you. It's the last will and testament, the durable power of attorney, as well as your medical directive. And they will file this for you at the state so that this is filed properly and be a legally binding document. They'll also give you an annual update. This is for you and your spouse. You and your spouse are both included. Motor vehicles, this is the next thing I love, is about moving violations. Our oldest is a freshman at the University of Houston, and he got a second speeding ticket. And we didn't know what to do, and we called our State Farm agent. We've been with him for a long time. Our insurance went up just having him on our insurance, and it was going to be bad. So we called up and we said, hey, he's got a speeding ticket, and she told me, she said, your insurance is going to go up for 3 years. He gets a third one, and State Farm will probably drop you. So I didn't know what to do. I had to call Jim. He said, call the law firm. So we had our son fax up the ticket to the law firm, and they represented him in traffic court. He didn't have to miss school that day, and this is available in all 50 states. And they went in and they got this plea bargain down to a non-moving violation, so our insurance didn't go up and the points didn't go on his record. So if you have teenage drivers, this is wonderful. If you have a spouse who drives like a teenager, this is a wonderful service to have. Like I said, this is available in all 50 states, so there's great coverage there. They also have trial defense hours if you're ever named in a lawsuit. They have IRS audit services if you're ever named in a suit with the IRS. They'll represent you at an audit or at a trial. They have a 24-hour legal shield. That's a 24-hour emergency service. If you're ever going to be questioned or detained, served with a warrant, you have 24-hour access to an attorney at all times. And this is not where at 2 o'clock in the morning you've decided to divorce your spouse. All right, this is an emergency. All right, but you have that access to speak to an attorney and get some advice. They have a 25% member discount on things like bankruptcies, divorces, and DUIs. You're going to get unlimited consultation to get a lot of advice. All right, but they're going to go to work for you, and you're guaranteed a minimum of a 25% discount as having a membership. This last thing on the family coverage, this does include your family. This is you and your spouse or significant other, your dependent children, unmarried, living at home up to the age of 21 or 23 if they're enrolled in school full-time. So this is great coverage. The cost of this is $5.98 a week. It's 87 cents a day. We used to talk about it was about a cup of coffee a day, and Starbucks came in and we couldn't use that anymore. So now it's about a bottle of water a day, and you have 25 cents a week more for your minor coverage for children. If you have minor children under the age of 18, you can also have them covered as well. So today we're just going to take you through your applications that you have there in front of you. If you would take your pens and you see that there's a one-time $10 enrollment fee right underneath the Lady of Justice up on the left-hand side. If you'll take your pens for me and just mark that out and draw a line through that, we're not going to have to charge you the guys that there today. And just then write HRMC on that, and then we'll go through and fill out all the yellow highlighted portions. Thank you guys very much, and that's basically an identity theft workshop.
Great job.